Hi, dear friends, and welcome back to the Nympho Life podcast. I'm your host, Polina, and today I'm joined by the one and only King Noire. He is an award-winning porn performer, master fetish trainer, writer, artist, hip-hop MC, and global activist. Hello, King, and welcome.
Peace. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today? Very excited to speak
I'm
to you.
Likewise.
Maybe we can start with you telling me and my audience a little bit more about yourself and the work you do.
I do a lot. I am co-owner and founder of Royal Fetish Films with my partner, Jet Setting Jasmine. We make adult films that range from kinky to the hardcore, passionate, beautiful, artistic. We shoot with everything from phones to drones to match everybody's porn tastes and desires. We also co-own and run Jet Setting Jasmine LLC. We do fantasy flights and experience parties and vacations all over the globe. I'm a master fetish trainer. I help people identify their fetishes and kinks and help them live and explore them in a safe and orgasmic way. I'm also a MC and a writer, so I make all kinds of music, from the political to the pornographic and the personal. And I think that's enough for now. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck? This dude do a lot of shit."
Yeah, just to say up front, I'm really admiring all the broad array of your interests and hobbies, and I will ask you later on also how do you manage to have everything kind of going with all these different projects you have. But first, let's start with where it all started. Maybe you could tell me where you're from, what was your background and upbringing, what shaped you as a person originally.
Sure. I was born in New York City, but I was raised in Jersey. I was raised by my mother. I grew up between Teaneck, Jersey City, and Camden, New Jersey. So I bounced from the top to the bottom of the state. And I've always been interested in art. I've also always been interested in how art can shape the world and how it can move people to make a better world. And that was instilled in me by my mother. My mother's actually she's a health and human rights activist and also a teacher. So she put it in me that if you're gonna do something, you got to do something for your people from a very young age.
That's great. And tell me more about your sexuality. How do you identify and what sort of things you're into, let's say, if you could somehow list it at least, or not define it, but list it, I'm not asking to put yourself in a box of any definition.
Oh, no, I dig it. When people ask what my sexuality is, I say I'm me. That's the best way to put it. I definitely am on the queer flag, you know what I'm saying? Spectrum, however people want to put it. I'm a pleaser first and foremost. I love to provide pleasure to my partners, whether it's my life partners, my scene partners, my client partners, whatever the case is. I enjoy making people feel good. I enjoy making people feel good and open people's minds up to new forms of pleasure. I'm kinky as fuck. So, I've always been kinky. I am a super exhibitionist. I love it when people watch, whether it's in person or y'all watching on your computers or your phones. That's a super big turn on for me. I love BDSM, domination and submission, and I am very sensual and heavy dom, super oral. I don't know what I don't know what
That's a great definition.
I'm a very oral person. I love to use my mouth.
I love that. And what do you think from your, again, background or upbringing influenced you becoming so open-minded and sexually liberated and beyond just exhibiting it, you know, for yourself or living your life freely, but also helping other people discover all the depths and different frontiers of sexuality. What do you think? What were the events that could somehow affect it? Or you just naturally evolved and grew into this person?
Well, I definitely think, you know, I was raised with the idea that as long as as you're not stepping on nobody else's toes, you should be who you are. And as
Mm-hmm.
long as they're not impeding on your progress, then let them be who they gonna be, you know? And I think in regards to sexuality, I've always I've always been interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And in phases of my life, I've decided like the whether it be societal chains or cultural chains or whatever, like I just want to get rid of them shits.
Yeah.
What's like at my core, like what do I want to do? What feels good to me? What feels good to do to other people? And I think like throughout stages of my life, I've been like, man, fuck it. Let's try more, let's do more, you know?
Yeah. And then we can transition to the next topic, which kind of leads to this. How did you get into porn and what has been your journey so far?
I initially got into porn when I was legally able to do so. So I was like 18 years old. Um, I was kind of wilding out, and my she kicked me out when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a friend who knew I was kind of in a situation and needed some money.
Yeah.
And she was dancing at the time in Philly, and somebody had asked her to be in like a magazine,
Mm-hmm.
a porn magazine, and she was like, "I'll do it, but I don't want to do it with random dick," basically, is how she said. So she reached out to me, and we have been, you know, like we used to mess around and all that. And she was like, I know you're a freak. I know you like people watching. Come get this. I know you need," basically she said, "and I know you need money, so come get this money with me," basically.
Yeah.
And it was back when magazines were still, you know, kind of everywhere. So it
Mm-hmm.
was very much like the insinuated sex. Like we didn't even really fuck. It was just kind of like all close-ups of us doing stuff, but not really having intercourse. And I got paid something like $400 for it. And I was like, wait, what? Like I could make this much money at the time. I was like, oh shit. Cause I was like, you know, working like little petty shitty jobs or selling weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was just like, this is crazy. I don't got to worry about police
Mm-hmm.
or any kind of crazy shit. Like this is me.
Yes.
So the photographer connected me with people who were interested in cuckolding, and also this director and producer. And at the time in Jersey and New York, there really wasn't. It's not like now where everybody was making shit on their phone or had access to equipment. It was people that were mostly filming shit that they was rich, and they just were like, hey, let me film people fucking, or someone fuck my wife, and I record it and I'll save it for my stash. So there's probably like a whole bunch of things that's floating around with me in my youth
Yeah.
that have never been published or posted anywhere. But that was kind of like the initiation into sex work. Started doing a lot of like private cuckolding sessions and things like that, which led me to BDSM,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of just been running with it since.
Have you ever been part of some, let's say, mainstream porn production company?
Yes, I can run down the list. I've shot for Brazzers, Trans Angels, Sarah JTV, the Lust Network, Adult Time, Transfix, Plumper Pass, a whole bunch more, but I'm forgetting. My bad if your company was forgotten just now.
Because then you moved on to start your own production, right? So you have a perspective of both mainstream, like working with mainstream productions, and also running it yourself and executing your own vision in
Yes,
this, right?
I love them both because it's like when it's your own, you work all the meticulous details, and I'm a filmophile like a motherfucker. So I'm like, oh, I saw this shot that was done in this film, and I want to try to do that in porn or whatever, you know. You get to pick the people, all the little details. So I love that aspect of it. And then I like working for other companies because I just get to show up and be a dick. You know what I mean? Like they're like,
Mm-hmm.
come in and come in and fuck, and I don't have to think about all the little particulars and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy both aspects.
Yeah, and for me, it's really inspiring that you kind of have a vision, like business vision, but also you bring in your creative vision, and those things work in parallel, and you're able to execute your kind of ideas with this. Tell me,
Thank you.
in general, as someone who works in the industry, what do you think are the benefits, but also maybe downsides of porn for general public, let's say, or maybe if kids discover it early, and also if you could compare again mainstream porn or ethical, independently produced porn.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, porn is not for young people. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
there's age restrictions on it. I mean, obviously people either stumble upon it or seek it out, when they shouldn't. But it's very important that people understand like these are adult situations for adults, and adults have hopefully a different understanding and frame of reference when it comes to sex and sex that's produced on film. I think for the general public, for adults, when it comes to what might be the negative side, is sometimes people project their own insecurities or their own hangups onto other people based on what they've seen in porn.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be like certain tropes that they might see, whether it's how they feel about queer folk or how they feel about black dicks or whatever the case be. And
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I think that some of that like boils up in people, and then they could take it out on their partners or other people that they see in the everyday, or they come take it out on porn performers on Twitter by saying some of the meanest and most disgusting things you can imagine. I think also sometimes people have expectations of themselves of what they see on the camera to be able to perform like people they see on camera, or
Mm-hmm.
have their partner perform like they see on camera, not realizing that we are professionals. Some of us have been doing this for a very long time.
Yes.
Some of us, these are our expertises and specialties that we really refine as skills and talents, the same way you see other athletes perform. You see, like, we're sexual athletes.
For sure.
There are people who we work on our bodies, we work on our skills and talents. It's not like some people just woke up and were like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to take 5 dicks in my ass at once, or deep throat somebody. People practice and people work up to these things. So you can't just like walk into your bedroom and tell your wife like, hey, I brought 5 guys. You know what I'm saying? It's not,
Yeah.
that's not how it works. We have consent conversations. We have, you know, uh, lube on set and practice and warm up and all kinds of things that you might not see on camera,
Mm-hmm.
because it's presented to you as a work of art or a film, or a gonzo scene for you to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy for your fantasy and your pleasure. So there's
Yes.
some reality parts that are kind of like skipped out. I am not somebody who believes that there is negative aspects of sex in general. I do
Mm-hmm.
believe that sex is a beautiful thing. It is something that, you know, you should be present for, you should enjoy. You have a body that has all these pleasure receptors in it. So, enjoy consensual sex. Have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with that, and that's why I'm also doing this work, because I feel
I
that
dig it.
our bodies were created for pleasure, and we definitely need to benefit from that. If we can elaborate a little bit on this topic of how to protect kids from porn, or rather how to mitigate the, I don't know, consequence. Because, for example, I discovered porn when I was probably 10, and I watched it all the way, I mean, until now. And I would just get with my friend and we would watch it together, And it was before internet even existed. We had this alien network with open access to computers in the neighborhood. And
Yeah.
for me, I mean, and I saw some pretty disturbing shit, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I kind of realized that, okay, this is like not how it's supposed to be. So yeah, for me it was like I was super curious about it. But of course it can negatively affect kids, right? In different situations. Do you think the solution is age verifications, because now we have, technology for this, or rather, I don't know, parents doing some talk, or schools perhaps,
Yeah.
that, look, you might see some things on the internet, but this is not educational. This is maybe for, entertainment, and this is what adults do. What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think you named a bunch of things because I also came into contact with porn before the age of the internet. Um, so for those of us who came into contact with it in that kind of way, whoever the adult was who had this porn stash, put it in a fucking place that kids can't find it. Number one,
Yes.
lock that shit up, put it up really, really high, but don't have it where your kids can just stumble upon it. That's number one.
Okay.
And for now, in this digital age, if you have shit on your phone, whether it's links to websites or your homemade shit, put it behind some kind of a wall where there needs to be an access code. Or don't just hand your kids your fucking phone and allow them to be on your phone like that if you know you have shit that your kids shouldn't be on. Like me, I don't give my kids my phone. Daddy's phone is off limits to you.
Yeah. And
You
they
have
don't
the
have
TV.
their own yet.
You have your iPad. Like my little kids, no, they don't need a phone yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
they're not at that age. There are a lot of tools that are out there if you have a family computer that you can restrict where people can go on that computer. Sure, you want to go see your porn, but if you know that you have little people in your home, then you need to make it so that it's very it is damn near as impossible as possible for them to not get on those sites. And really, a lot of it, if your kids do have phones, you can go into those phones and you can set them up in a way that they cannot access certain content and material. So that's first and foremost. Now, outside of those kind of things, what can be done outside of your home? I definitely believe that age restrictions on websites are great. I don't think that age restrictions on websites that is also the government prying into your age and what you view and things like that is even necessary. Those sites should be regulated by whatever regulatory agencies we can have set up to make sure that it is not possible for people to get through those sites. But I don't think it's safe when you have like what's going on in like Louisiana or some other states in America where they're like, what site are you going on? Send us your ID. But it's like a government agency. That shit is really fucking
Oh,
weird
wow.
because the
That's
state
weird.
shouldn't be in your bedroom like that.
Great
Um,
quote.
but I do believe that sites should be regulated. There should be some kind of regulatory agency, and it's crazy to think that porn is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's multi-billion-dollar whether it's a recession, whether it's a depression. It's been multi-billion-dollar pretty consistently. Not to say the shit don't go up and down, but it is a lot of fucking money. People want their porn regardless of what's going on in the world. So there should be some kind of regulations that are set up to protect children, that are set up to protect consumers, that are set up to protect performers, that are set to protect companies as well. That should be across the board, just like any other industry, like the FDA and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Um, and then just in regards to in general, like I do think as a company, as an owner of a company, I don't want fucking people on my shit who are not legally able to see it. Period. I
Yes.
don't want children watching my shit. It does not do any good for me or my company. So if you just want to look at it from a business perspective, it's bad for you.
Yes.
On a moral perspective, it's worse. So I don't want them to watch it either. And I don't think that that should be debatable. You
Yeah.
know, and then just in the sense of schools, I think if schools had real comprehensive sex education, not just don't get fucking pregnant, don't get AIDS, it would also help children to understand like you should be teaching children about consent,
Absolutely.
period. because there are predators out there that they need to understand the autonomy of their body to be able to tell a motherfucker no. Because a lot of these predators, they're gonna try to manipulate a child. And the less educated a person is, whether it's an adult or a child, the less educated somebody is, the easier they are to manipulate. So it's very important for our kids to understand their bodily autonomy from a young age. It's important for them to understand consent. It's important for them to understand, not even just about predators, but they're going to start having feelings to people their own age at a certain point. And as
Yeah,
adults, we need to get out of this, oh, kids are so fast, or kids shouldn't be that when you were a kid, you were having those same feelings. It's like when you get to a certain age, I don't know what the switch is that people turn off in their brain and act as if when you were a kid, you weren't interested in other kids for whatever exploration that you were having at that age. So it's important for us to educate kids like this is what safety is, this is what consent is, this is what is age appropriate for those children as well. So
yeah,
that they can understand, like, as you're going through this thing called life and you're going to explore, there are certain things that aren't really for your age because you're not prepared to deal with the circumstances and outcomes. And the circumstances and outcomes are not always pregnancy or AIDS. The
right.
circumstances and outcomes sometimes are emotional distress, feelings of abandonment, love. You know what I'm saying? There's also some good things that come from being attracted to people as well. And it's okay to teach people at all ages that it's okay to feel nice also, but also you should also balance your age with what things you're trying to do. Like if my kid come to me and be like, I'm trying to get married, like, no, you're not getting married. You're too young for that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But we'll laugh that off. But if your kid comes to you and then says something that might be a little bit like, I want to go and kiss somebody, we get so angry at these
mm-hmm.
kids that then they're like, oh, well, why are you angry? Why are you telling me not to do this? And then they're going to go seek it out in a different place. And the information might not be for their best interest.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for your thoughts on this. It's really also insightful to hear it from you because this is your craft and your art. The next topic that I would like to talk to you about, and that, according to what I've read, is very important to you, and that I don't know personally much of, so I would like to ask you. It's about decolonization of porn. First of
Yes.
all, please tell me if you think more kind of not exclusively US kind of context or more US focused context, so it's also occurring worldwide or in other parts of the world, and also where this thin border lies between fetishization, Black people or people of color, or general attractiveness, that, or like
Sure.
preferences, let's say, please.
Okay. Um, I think it's a worldwide thing. And it's not even just a porn thing, it's just the decolonization of sex in general, especially in regards to, Black and brown people from the African diaspora. Because of colonization and because of slavery, our sex was dictated to us, and really this uh conversation really, really came into effect for me, Jet Setting Jasmine, when we traveled to Kenya and we were part of something called the Spread Fest. And we were talking with the amazing Kaz Lucas, and we were kind of like at a dinner party. And there's this, I always get the name wrong, so please excuse me, but there's like this object that they use in Kenya. It's very similar to what we think of as a flogger that
Mm-hmm.
is like kind of like horsehair. And they said that some parents use it to beat their kids and other couples use it to beat each other. And
Wow.
for most of my life, since I've been doing BDSM shit since even before I got into sex work. But even for sex work, I've been doing it since I was 18 years old. And I've always had people say to me, like, if it's some kinky shit, they're like, that's some white people shit. And I'm like, I don't think so. Well, number one, because I'm doing it. So it's not just some white people shit. But you really think that sex that has existed since people have existed in these hundreds of thousands, millions, however long you want to debate human existence. Nobody ever smacked somebody's ass before. Nobody ever choked somebody before. Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy. You
They've
know,
done
and
worse, worse things.
I'm for sure, you know, and I think that a lot of people they attribute like BDSM to like the Marquis de Sade in France or whatever. And I'm
Hmm.
like, nobody was doing this before him. Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy. But also like specifically in regards to African Americans, there's a certain point where our history and like when we trace it back that it stops because we don't know what happened before we were stolen and brought here.
Yeah.
So when you factor that in, and then you factor in America, like obviously people know about sugarcane, cotton, rice plantations and things of that nature, tobacco, all these products that made America rich in the beginning. But the product that made them the richest was black people. It was slaves.
Mm.
The most financially viable plantations were in Virginia, and those were the plantations that were solely based on breeding. So uh, our sexual experience was dictated to us. We were told
Hmm.
who to have sex with, how to have sex, and what our purpose for sex was to make more people so that they could sell more of our children. All of this has been factored in through all the stereotypes that you see of African Americans in the world. America has proliferated its stereotypes in order to justify how they treat us here. You know, in order to say, yeah, that cop shot that boy in the back because black people are X, Y, and Z. So these things have been pumped to all over the world. And in regards to sex, it's that, black women are unsatisfiable. Why did that stereotype start? Because in order to basically have someone repeatedly raped by slave masters, slave owners, overseers, and then into forced sexual situations non-consensually, which is also rape with other slaves to produce offspring, you have to make up something in order to justify how you're treating this person. Black men
Crazy.
have absolutely no control over our sexual desires. How do you justify forcing a 13-year-old boy to impregnate somebody? How do you justify the rape of that 13-year-old boy? By saying he has no control over his ideas of sexuality and absolutely no boundaries. And that has been perpetuated from generation to generation to generation to justify how we've been treated here. So decolonizing that idea, not only for the people who are attracted to us, but even more importantly for us to be like, I'm allowed to have sex for my own pleasure, not for this gaze of someone else who's telling me how, when, and why to have sex.
Hmm.
And then for outside of us, for people to be like, yo, black dicks come in all shape and sizes. So you can't just be like, I love black men because black men have big dicks. Like that's not fucking true.
Yeah.
All races, all people have dicks in all different shapes and sizes. That's the fact. If you're saying that you love black men, why? Is it because of a stereotype of our bodies or our sexual prowess? Or is it because you actually like that specific brother right there? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, and I think that
Yeah.
that's where it comes in, like that thin line that you spoke of between fetishization and actual attraction. Because it's like if I meet somebody and I'm like, I don't know, let's just say she's from Kenya.
Hmm.
Because I like her, does that mean I like all Kenyan women? Probably not. Even though Kenyan women are beautiful, I love y'all. Don't come at me in my DMs and shit. But I'm sure there's gonna be a couple that I'm like, nah, chill, we don't get along.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But a lot of times, specifically when it comes to black men, I think are extremely fetishized. Black women are fetishized in a different kind of way. For white men to fetishization of black women is kind of like and this is gonna sound really fucked up, but this is true. It's kind of like how people view breaking a horse, like a wild course to then be
Mm.
subservient to you, which is
Mhm.
like the opposite of the fetishization of Asian women, where they'll be like, Asian women are naturally subservient. Like, that's not
Mhm.
fucking true. I know a whole lot of Asian women that is not trying to do what the fuck it is that you think that you want them to do.
I know a lot
And
of Asian
also,
dominatrixes. I've seen.
exactly. And also, Asia is a big fucking place. Like, the
Absolutely.
stereotype of Asia, like, yo, India's in Asia, Russia's in Asia. What are you? It's two completely different places, you know. And it's the same thing, and it's the same thing with Black folk. And I think that, you know, the perception of the stereotype of Black men a lot of times for white women specifically is like, he's a sexual toy, a sexual object, not so much the layers and depths of a human being. Like, his
Yeah.
thoughts, his feelings, his emotions, his, I don't know, his dreams and aspirations are not part of the equation. It's just like, do we have a big dick and can he dance? You know, and to reduce somebody to that shit is disgusting. And it does make it so that people become expendable in, whether it's the industry or just our lives become expendable as well. And I think that that's a dangerous thing. In regards to porn, there's so many stereotypes and tropes that have gotten perpetuated throughout
Hmm.
the years. Like, if you're a white guy in porn, really don't matter what your dick size is. There's white guys with big dicks. There's white guys with average dicks. There's white guys who do cuckolding with like mini dicks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and it's all acceptable with as the spectrum of white manhood. But if
Hmm.
you primarily look at porn for Black men, and it's changing a little bit, but they look for like, yo, you gotta have a certain size, or it's not, or you're not useful in our industry.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining to me, because I never think of people in terms of their just body parts, you know. That's why I couldn't understand kind of the juice of the problem. All right. The other topic I would like to talk to you about is one of the other crafts that you are specializing in, which is fetish training. Can you please tell
Yes.
me what it is? I mean, what it is kind of self-explanatory, but how do you practice it and who can benefit from it, or who are your customers, couples or individuals? And how does an average session go?
Everybody can benefit from fetish training because
Mm-hmm.
we all have them. They range and they're unique. Like, we might have the same umbrella over our fetish. Like, maybe you and I are both into impact play.
Mm-hmm.
You might like to receive, I might like to give, or you might like study, I might like something that stings, you know? So it's like it gets very detailed and is unique to everybody. I work with couples, I work with singles, I work with people who are brand new, who have never done anything before and are just like, I need someone to walk me through this, who's safe, who is skilled and knows what they're doing, all the way to working with people who are like so deep in their fetishes and kinks that they can break it down to every single specific level of what they want, how they want it, when they want it, and why they want it. But I customize and tailor everything to the individual. So no two sessions are ever the same. The line that runs through all of them is to make sure that it's safe, to make sure that the experience is safe within the sense of like, from your safety words to however we're going to prep. Like, for example, if we're doing something that is like some really heavy bondage and you've never done heavy bondage before, or if you've done heavy bondage before, you know that there are steps that have to be taken to make sure that your safety is paramount.
Yes.
So we're going to work on that. We're going to go through that. And some people, they want it experiential. Other people, they want it more tutorial. So some people are like, I want you to teach me how to flog. Other people are like, flog me. You know,
Okay.
so it really depends on the person and the situation. And I'm blessed to say that I have some people who I work with that I've worked with for like 10 years, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I have new people that hit me up every day. So I love it. It's one of my favorite things because it's like you can see sometimes with someone who's new, you can see that light that goes off like, oh, I've been missing out. I could do all these things that I've always wanted to do. And then it's the same thing with somebody I've worked with for years where that light goes off and they're like, oh, I found something new that I like about this shit that I've been into, you know? So I really love my work.
I mean, that's great. And it's about helping people also in the first place.
For
And
sure.
if it's about a session, for example, with a couple, because I can imagine that some men might be intimidated by, that you're so confident and present and you're attractive and, like I
Oh,
imagine.
thank you. This
I mean, this
this is my
happen.
favorite interview ever. I'm getting all the compliments and shit.
I love praising people, who inspire me. I guess it would be already a very, let's say, difficult step to maybe agree to this if their partner offers this. But in this session, do you then engage with the woman if it's about heterosexual couple, let's say, or you show it on somebody else if this is their boundary, for example, right? That maybe the man is not okay with you touching the woman.
Yeah, sure. So I do have other people that I work with. So I have other dominants that I work with and other submissives that I work with. So sometimes, let's say, for example, if I run into a couple and they both want to be submissive, but the husband is like, "Oh, I don't want you touching me," then I have another dominant who can come and we can work together. Or I do have sessions where I'll teach the husband, like maybe I don't have to touch their partner or whatever, but I can show them different techniques. And I have
Okay.
submissives that I'll be like, this is my stand-in, work
Oh
on
my God.
work on their body. But I work with all couples. I work with heterosexual, lesbian, gay, bi, non-binary, whatever. Like I work with everybody. So as long as people are understanding of what my boundaries are for myself and they share what their boundaries are for them, then we find ways to be congruent. Because I truly believe that you can find a way to be like if you're attracted or in a setting where it's work or whatever, you can find a way to work with everybody sexually.
Yep.
As long as y'all know what the other person's boundaries are and you respect them, then you can find a way to make the shit work all the time.
Great. And the last question, and the very interesting one to conclude this chapter, is what are the craziest kinks or kink requests have you encountered as a master fetish trainer that you can
I don't.
recall?
I wouldn't say
Or
crazy because I do feel like everybody's
unexpected, for example.
unexpected. Ooh.
Yeah.
I usually say lunars because when it happened, I didn't know it existed.
Wait, what is that?
So
I've never heard of this.
lunar is someone who's turned on by balloons. So
Ah.
it could be the blowing up of balloons, it could be the popping of balloons, it could be the anticipation of popping a balloon, but you don't pop the balloon. It's very, very particular, different types of balloons. And I always think of that one just because it was just something I did not know existed. And it was a request that was for me to film Jasmine blowing up and popping balloons, right? So we set up this is like very early in our company. We set up this scene out by like a pool, and Jasmine had these red and black balloons because those are our colors, right? So she's like blowing up these balloons and like rubbing them on her breasts and like she was just doing sexy ass shit. And then I realized I'm filming. I'm like, yo, I'm hard as fuck right now. I never knew I was into this shit. And it's like maybe Jasmine is the part of Jasmine, but it was also like, you're taking this object that's not particularly sexual and you're making it sexy as fuck. And I think that shit is cool. Um, I also I have people who like speaking of praise kink who wanted me to basically just like come and model underwear for them and then masturbate and like come on the underwear. And it wasn't
Okay.
it wasn't like I would, like I said, none of this is crazy to me. Like all of it was just unexpected in the sense of like
Yes.
they didn't want to touch me. They didn't want me to touch them. They just wanted to watch me just be an underwear model. And for me, it was great because I actually used to like I walked for Macy's before back in the day and did like form modeling for some companies and shit. So I was like, oh, this like taking me back. And I gotta praise kink as well. So it felt really, really good. So I really enjoyed that one.
That's great. Thank you for sharing this. This is definitely two new kinks I learned about. I can share one of I know that maybe you haven't heard of. And I saw
Sure.
it in some TV program. I don't know what was also the program, but it was a kink when people get turned on by the sensation of feeling insects on their body, like caterpillars and stuff like this. That I thought also is very unexpected.
That is definitely unexpected. And for me, I would not engage in that one because those insects did not uh consent to be in that situation.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
But I do like tactile fetishes for real. Like, like some people like leather, latex, or
Yes.
velour or whatever. Like I do like sensation play for sure.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's talk about art and inspiration, because I know that you are also musician and hip hop MC. I'm a hip hop girl, so
Yeah.
I'm suffering in modern clubs, especially in Prague, because the hip hop scene here is basically non-existent, unfortunately. So yeah, tell me about your music career. And I've read that you perform with Outkast and Redman. How was that?
That was amazing. I've been rhyming since I was like, like a little kid. I love music. I grew up in a very musical household. My mother, huge jazz fan, so I grew up playing alto saxophone. I used to play the viola, but I gave
Wow.
all of that shit up when I got my turntables. You know what I mean? I used to DJ parties back in the day. I love hip hop. Like hip hop is responsible for me seeing the world.
Wow.
When I was younger, I got signed initially to Day by Day Entertainment. I went by my name, Hassan Salam. I was signed to like a subsidiary Universal Day by Day that was run by MF Grimm. And then I was signed to Viper Records that by Immortal Technique. And I got to travel the world. My first tour ever, like big tour ever, I was on the road with my homie Akir, and we opened up for Redman on the Red Going Wild tour. And being that I'm from Jersey, like that's a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? Redman to me is one of the greatest of all time, greatest to ever do it.
Yes.
And to watch him on stage every night for like 20 or 30 shows or some shit, just like really taught me about performance and what it means to be a great MC. And Outkast is my favorite group of all time. So being able to open up for them was dope. I think for me, like music is therapy, and I've started releasing music now under the name King Noire as well because you need good sex music. You need good open-minded, free hip hop that isn't, chauvinistic, homophobic. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That is all inclusive, but you can get it into, you know what I'm saying? And I touch on topics that I feel like nobody has really ever talked on in hip hop before, from polyamory to cuckolding to really what it's like to live the life I live as an adult film star and a master fetish trainer. So it's like I got a whole lot of new music that's coming, but definitely check it out on
Awesome.
iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, and all them good places.
Awesome. I'll share a link. And I love this marriage
Thank you.
of different, I mean, porn is a genre, and let's say it's a visual genre, and music is a audio genre, how you marry those things. And by this, you're creating a
Oh yeah.
new niche in it.
Thank you. Definitely check out the visuals. The people need to see this new
Yes,
video I
I
have for
saw
King
the
Fair for
teaser. I
sure.
saw the teaser on your Instagram. So I will definitely, is it out already? Like the full
Yeah, yeah,
clip?
yeah. I'll send you the link.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And tell me in general, who would you say are your creative influences you mentioned
Mm.
cinema, also that you love cinema, maybe
Yeah.
art or other
My,
hip hop artists that inspire you?
my favorite artist of all time of any genre or anything is John Coltrane. Um, I love Train's music and the growth that he made and how he extended the range of instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's my greatest inspiration. But oh shit, in hip hop, definitely, like Outkast, pop. I really like Kendrick Lamar a lot.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite. Look, wait.
Oh, that's what's up. Got the plush Kendrick pillow.
Yes. Sorry,
Um,
continue. I just
nah, you
needed to share
good.
with you this as you're also a fan.
Nah, it's all good. Rakim, Snoop. My hip hop list will keep going, but in regards to film, like I'm a huge Spike Lee fan. Like I grew up on Spike Lee's movies. And I'm a big fan of Malik Saeed that did a lot of the like was director of photography work for a bunch of Spike Lee films.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Blanchard, who did the scores for a lot of his films, like them three is like amazing to me. Big Scorsese fan. I love my classic Japanese samurai movies, some like Kurosawa and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really is all over the place. I love a lot of like music videos that I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Like Little X and Hype Williams type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I draw inspiration a lot from everywhere. Like if I'm not behind the camera as much because I perform a lot, so a lot of times I have camera people who will help me reach my vision for scenes that I shoot. But definitely for some of the scenes that I've been the camera person and director on, I love like incorporating music videos and things like that into scenes as well. And Jasmine has always had this thing like she likes the pacing of music videos. So that's how she
Mm-hmm.
likes scenes to be shot as well. So there, and then art wise, like, Basquiat and a lot of different graffiti artists and shit like that.
Awesome.
I
That's
guess I'd definitely say if so, like what we've been doing also with the music is shooting a scene that's in correspondence with the music. So I did a song called Fly Me to You, FMTY, with where we shot the whole scene, like a full porn scene, and then made it into a music video and an actual scene with Faye Laveau. We sit in there and we write in the song together and then we fuck. So it's kind of like
wow.
multimedia thing. I'll send you the link to that one as
Yes,
well because
please.
it's really dope because I'm freestyling and she's freestyling her singing and we write and then like she came up with this chorus. Basically, she's like, when we gonna fuck? And she's singing it and she's like, no, like for real though. And then we have this beautiful, beautiful sex scene together and we also made a beautiful song together.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear it and see it, the music
I
video.
got you. I'm gonna send you all the links.
Awesome. Awesome. My almost last question to you. What is your general ambition or vision for the future that you would like to achieve with your work or personally? It doesn't have to be
Mm.
sexuality related, or it can be or not. But in general, what is your, maybe higher purpose if you have one?
Well, personally, my purpose is peace. Like I always
Mhm.
want to be able to find peace even in the midst of chaos. To be able to find that inner peace, to be able to have to deal with chaos if that's what's there, or if it's something that's beautiful and good, to actually be able to be in that moment and accept it and enjoy it.
Mhm.
Um, but like my overall goal for art has always been freedom, justice, and equality. I
Mhm.
want people to be able to live as free as possible, even if it's just through their thoughts and their mind. You know what I mean? To be able to envision a world different, because in a lot of places, we're fucking stuck. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this world that want to dictate how people think, how people feel, how people love, how people express themselves based on whether it's who we are, our gender, our orientation or whatever. Like I want to be able to provide as much freedom, even if it's for a moment, for people.
Yeah.
I always seek out justice, and hopefully, through some of the ways and actions and things that we attribute to and work towards, that people can receive that, and always treating people as equals, and hopefully inspire others to do the same. And that's like always been my goal, whether it's rap or porn or just in general, and how I relate to people.
Great. That's very admirable. And I'm sure you inspire so many people along the way by doing it.
Thank you. And I hope to inspire lots of orgasms in people as well. Like
Oh,
if
for
it's just to
sure.
feel good and get that nut off, then I got you.
All right. Let me ask you, what is still on your sexual bucket list? If you can think of anything that is still there that you haven't done yet and that you would
A
like to do.
lot. I have a whole lot. I have a whole lot. I'm gonna I'm gonna always put this out in the air until it happens. I really want to do a pussy pairing cooking show
Oh,
where
wow.
I have like 3 women. So like I love to cook. So I watch a lot of cooking shows.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite shows is Chopped. But it'd be kind of like in the sense of like each woman, like I eat their pussy, and then for dessert after I eat their pussy, they're like, I've prepared like this, I don't know, sweet potato pie because it goes with my natural flavor and aroma. Or someone else is like, well, I prepared this specific drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why.
I love that.
I love to eat pussy. I love to eat. I love to cook. So that's why. And then my other one that I'm really interested in doing, I want to be the center in a trans blow bang. Like that would be hot.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool.
That would be hot.
Cool.
And some kind of, I don't know how. So like either fucking in a hot air balloon or
Oh.
skydiving or something like that. But it has, I like heights.
Mm-hmm.
So like really, really high up in the air, but I don't want it to just be like in an airplane bathroom. Like I want it to be like really fucking
Yeah,
extra, like over the top.
like in space.
In space would be
I
crazy.
know that
That
I would
would be
love
nuts.
that.
I need
Awesome.
to get on one of those rockets that they just shooting up for the hell of it right now.
I'm sure in 10 years it will be like a transatlantic
Word, I'm with
flight.
it.
Thank you so much. It's been such an incredible and fun and exciting conversation. I'm really grateful that you agreed to do this interview, and it's been really inspiring for me. Thank you. How can my audience find you online?
Oh, you can go to the real King Noire on Instagram, at King Noire on Twitter as KingNoire. But definitely go to Royal Fetish XXX.com. You can go to King Noire XXX.com, King Noire on OnlyFans, Fansly, and all them type joints. But Google me. Google the
Awesome.
fuck out of me.
And I will leave some links under the podcast and the video and audio.
Please.
And just to remind, please also follow Nympho Life Podcast. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave a review, leave a question if you have to Kink or to me, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.